In the final minute, Bennett from the pocket, launches to the end zone, caught, touchdown, A.D. Mitchell.
3rd and 10 from the 11. Travis under pressure, trying to escape, able to escape. Turns the corner, stays in back.
Gets to the edge, Sonny Michel, ascend the dark
tunnel to the 30, 35. Yeah! Whitfield to the 50, to the 40, Whitfield to the 30.
There's another first down.
Not dealing with much pressure at all when he does drop back to throw.
With the play action, Bennett looks down the middle, McConkey's wide open, touchdown dog.
Still get chills. Still get chills. You love to see it. Welcome to the Knowles and Dogs podcast as I put my other headphone in. I am Hunter.
And I'm Dylan.
And we have a great show today. We have our pre-draft special. We're recording this a day before. We're actually recording it before, feels like midnight before we do record our podcast.
It's actually a midday recording for once.
I know, right? I got this awful glare going on. I had the lamp right here to kind of balance it out.
Yeah.
Don't need that in the camera. Some medicine I'm taking. Well, have to take sometimes. Anyway, so today we got a great show today. We got some college football news. We got some spring games we're going to talk about briefly. Some transfer portal news. Colorado, what's going on in chaos? Colorado chaos in Boulder. That didn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. And then we have some NCAA rule changes that have just been confirmed. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit right before we get into our draft topic special. So we'll just do a couple rundown questions. Got some videos we'll show with the players that we like, what we don't like, and 3 questions to wrap it all up.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great show. Dylan, how are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing fantastic today, man.
Lovely.
Still feels bright and early, even though it's the middle of the day, but couldn't be happier.
Right. All right. So we'll hop right into it. As always, guys, make sure you are liking the video, subscribing. This is going to be a really good show today, so I would suggest just skip through the videos if you want. The draft special is going to be towards the back half of the video. But so if you want to skip through the video on YouTube, by all means, go right ahead. You'll see the banners up right as I'll put it up. Like this is going to be our first topic day, which is Bama spring game. But like you'll see it if you scroll through YouTube. Watch the videos, guys. Tell your friends. Subscribe. Find us on Spotify and Amazon Music as well. Let's get right into this. So we will start with the Bama spring game that happened this past weekend. Really, the big news coming out here. The quarterbacks are unsettled still.
Yep.
In Tuscaloosa. Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe is the quarterback competition that's been going on. Ty Simpson went 12 of 26. I got some stats here. 12 of 26, 155 yards and an interception. Jalen Milroe threw for 19 of 37, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 picks. I saw a couple clips. The secondary still looks shaky for Bama, which has got to be not the best feeling in the world. But spring, so you can't really.
You can't put full weight into spring practice, really.
Exactly. Because Georgia had the same thing. There's still some questions at the secondary. I know Bama's going to be losing some guys, but they still have some guys coming back that are big-time names like Kool-Aid McKinstry, who I'm not really crazy about. I don't know. A lot of people think he'll be a first-round pick next year.
I don't think so, though.
I don't think he is. Every time I watch him, he's getting burnt like toast. Turn on the national title game from 2 years ago. A.D. Mitchell makes him his child in clean terms, but just
man.
Aside from the quarterback battle, big name to look out for, I think. There's a freshman running back by the name of Justice Haynes. He had 3 touchdowns this past weekend. He's just built like a machine.
Yeah.
And they got a transfer offensive lineman he decommitted from Iowa, and Iowa's an offensive line
Oh
factory.
yeah.
Decommitted from there, went to Bama. I don't have the name written down, but he's 6'7", 340 pounds, and he played really well. I was watching some clips. Played really well. Was on the offensive tackle, that left side. He was just looked like he was a 4-year vet, possibly playing in the NFL, getting ready to play in the NFL. Like just controlled it, and he's
Yeah.
probably going to work his way into the starting lineup. But I don't know about you, but I think Bama is maybe possibly because they don't have the big name quarterback. And I want to try to ask you this: they don't have like the big name quarterback like as they've had in the years past, like Tua, Bryce Young, Mac Jones. It seems like they've just been a freaking factory
QB factor the past decade, really.
for real. But now this year it's a little weird. Just,
Hmm.
I mean, names don't stand out to you. You have the Jalen Milrow. He's probably going to look like he might start. But I mean, the only thing it's small sample size, but that Texas A&M game, from last season, he did not look good. He still somehow won, but did not look good at all. They've said that he's looked better. But I mean, I think this is going to be. I think this is a year that we maybe see Bama rely more on ground and pound,
Yeah.
get it
Like
done in the
old
yeah,
school Nick Saban Bama.
yeah, get it done in the trenches,
Hmm.
and then just rely on the quarterback needs to make a couple needs to make the couple throws, needed to you know extend drives, get the job done.
Right. I think maybe. I mean, it's just such a change from their offensive philosophy the past half decade. I don't know if it will be a smooth transition. I think we'll probably see Alabama finish second in the West again,
Hmm.
just because they're in a transition period right now between, for the most part, a half decade of Heisman caliber quarterbacks to normalcy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
They're dropping back down to everybody's level, and I think you're going to see that hard this year in the
Hmm.
fact that they're not gonna throw for 3,000 yards.
No.
They're gonna run the ball 40 times a game and hope to God their defense can actually play good for once.
Well, I don't know about running the ball 40 times a game, but I mean, I think you're definitely gonna see more games, I think, where they're gonna at least try to establish the run game and get
Hmm.
it rolling. I always think back to just most recently, like the 2 years ago, the Cincinnati game in the
Yeah.
playoff, where they just handed the ball over to what was his name? Just got drafted. Who was the running back? Freaking look up the
From
running back. Bama. Look up the running back
oh
2 years ago. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, isn't he on your Steelers?
No, it's not Najee Harris. That was 2020. He was the backup to him. Look that up for me. Anyway, um, where they just handed the ball over, and again, this was more how since he played the game, they played because of their cornerbacks. They were so good with Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant, but they were able to just ground and pound, establish a run game, control the line of scrimmage, and just dominate in the trenches, and that's how they won. I think they're going to do that more. But I mean, they're coming in this year with number one recruiting class in the conference and in the nation. They had a staggering 9 5 stars, 18 4 stars, and
Hmm.
one 3 star. So, and it's crazy to say that they have all that, and we're still not thinking they're going to be the top
Is it
team out of the
Brian
West.
Robinson?
Yes, that's who I'm
Okay,
thinking of.
yeah.
Yeah. Where's he at now?
I could not find anything on him really. I'm like
Why?
searching.
I don't know why that name blanked on me. Because
Washington.
that's right.
He's
He got
he's
yeah. He used the Commanders. Okay, I
yeah.
remember. Okay, I don't know why that
Yeah.
name blanked on me.
Hasn't played all that much though.
Well, remember he got shot
Yeah.
before the year started last year. I know
Hmm.
that sounded a little rough over the airways, but
But it's the truth. He
he came back.
in fact gets shot.
He came back. Well, he shot, and then came back and played.
Yeah.
Um, but I think this is going to be a weird year for Bama. because now they're in uncharted territory in a sense that they're not the top dogs of the SEC.
No.
Georgia is.
Yeah.
And now they may not even be the top dogs in the West right now. People are looking at LSU, who we're going to talk about in a second, and they're thinking, okay, this is LSU's division now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting year. This is going to be one of the few times you're going to see Saban as an underdog role this year, in a sense. But their defense has got to step up. They got new coordinators, Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele. But if that secondary doesn't play well again, they're going to get torched again. It won't matter because now the secondary's bad. The defense is bad again. They're not, they're losing guys. They're losing DJ Dale, Will Anderson, Henry Toa, Brian Branch. Those are just some guys off the top of my head. There's a couple more I know.
Yeah.
So they're losing guys. Now, of course, are they going to be able to step back up? Of course they are.
They
still have Dallas Turner. They still got Kool-Aid McKinstry. They still got some other guys. But again, this is going to be a year where if the defense isn't able to help them out, because I think that's what's going to happen. The defense has got to step up more this year in the years past, because this feels like Greg McElroy, AJ McCarron years, where it was more, there's not really that many big name receivers. They're got to rely on the ground and pound defensive all-stars and just run it down your throat. And again, have a quarterback that just manages the game and won't lose it for you.
Yeah. You just want to make sure that whoever's starting, if it's Jalen Milroe or whoever else, does not turn the ball over, right? Like, that's his job. His job is not to be a superstar for you. It's to don't turn the ball over. Please don't turn the ball over.
Yes. So, all right. So I think we'll move on now from the Bama spring game. So still some questions down in Tuscaloosa. We'll go over their schedule later on closer to the year, but still the usual suspects.
Yeah.
So we'll move on though to LSU now. So over in Baton Rouge, they also had their spring game. I'll move over to the other notes here. Paper pop. Anyway, so LSU, I think, was a different story from the people that were down there. Game went really good. They got some names that stood out. Quarterbacks, it's Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier. Both played really well. Daniels went 10 of 11, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Garrett Nussmeier, who is a sophomore now, 5 of 8, 139 and 2 touchdowns. So, and then wide receivers like Kyron Lacey had 4 receptions, 92 yards and a touchdown, one of them being a 70-yarder, or the one was a 70-yarder. Looked explosive, I've heard. Just looking like he could be the top guy in that group. They have a 3-headed monster now at receiver. Noah Kane, their running back, looked good. I have written down and look for him to start maybe take the reign of that starting job.
Yeah.
But quarterback battle, they've said that Daniels is going to be the starter going forward. But it's good to know, I guess, if you're an LSU fan, you have Nussmeier, who looked, you remember he played in the SEC title game against Georgia and torched us. Thank God we put 50 up, but torched us.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that you have that kind of stability, because I think this is going to be Daniels' last year.
Yeah, so I think he's a senior, right?
I think so.
And I think he used his the only way he'd be able to play again is if he was a graduate transfer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and he's not. So
yeah.
They forced Walker Howard out, who's now at Ole Miss. So again, never a bad option to have a quarterback, it's waiting in the wings. It's gonna be like, hey, when it's your time to go, at least you're ready to go.
You're ready. It's easy transition. That's the biggest thing. And for Brian Kelly's LSU, which if you're Brian Kelly, your goal isn't just to win a championship, it's to sustain championship aspirations, right? Which has been LSU's problem forever.
Yeah.
Right? LSU has had moments where they're the top dog, they won a national championship, and then they fall off a mountain cliff. Like, it's like everything falls off the rails, they cannot sustain consistent success.
Yeah.
And if you're Brian Kelly, not only do you want that national championship, but you want to beat Alabama.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like you said, I like that point you made where it's almost been like a one and done,
Yeah.
the one hit wonder kind of
Mhm.
thing where each coach has got their one shining moment, and then it's just kind of been kind of mediocre success after that. I
Yeah.
mean, Les Miles
And
got his, I think was 07,
yeah,
and
07
then and then it was Ogeron got his with the
yep.
super team in 19, and then didn't
Mhm.
really do much after.
Yep.
LSU definitely overachieved last year, especially with the new coach, new system,
Yeah.
especially after, I mean, if you watch that Florida State game I mean, they looked sloppy, gross, and
Mhm.
still almost won. I mean,
Yeah.
so
It's a talented roster, I
it
think is the
is.
biggest thing, and they have a really good coach.
Yep.
So, I mean, anytime you have those two points, you're going to win a lot of football games,
Yeah.
especially in a league like the SEC, especially in the SEC West, where, quite frankly, you have a lot of talent, but you also have a lot of mismanaged talent,
Yeah. I mean,
especially with your Mississippi States, your Texas A&Ms, your Arkansas.
I think realistically, this could be the first year in a while, even though we're saying LSU, Alabama,
Hmm.
this could be a first year in a while. We really don't know
Yeah.
who the number one team could possibly be out of there. I know if you're a betting man, I believe the SEC odds to win the title is Georgia,
Yep.
Bama, and then LSU.
Hmm.
So I mean, those are the. I mean, it would feels like it's either Bama or LSU for the West,
Yeah.
but you never know. Like this is like a year where it's going to be. This could be a big year for LSU to really take a hold of the West for years to come.
Hmm.
Um, Another quick note though, the secondary looked a little shaky. But they do have a lot of transfers coming in, so you
Yeah.
know how that usually goes. It's a lot of plug and play. See how this scheme fits. How does these guys work on these situations, on these guys in
Hmm.
these spots? So, um, but um, just like last year, a lack of depth across the board. It's
Yeah.
what hurt them late in the year, especially with on the offensive side. They just didn't have the guys, and then on defense, they started
Yeah.
banging them up. And just didn't have the guys. Is solid a lot in the SEC title game where they were rotating. They didn't have any guys on defense like in the line. They
Hmm.
had I think like two guys they were able to swap out and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, just tired bodies, not able to sustain anything, and that hurt them. So apparently it could be another problem this year. But I
Hmm.
mean, if they stay healthy, they're as dangerous as anybody. I
Yeah.
mean, look for them. They an easy playoff candidate for sure. Um, but
Hmm.
it's if they got to stay healthy though. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, Tigers. Alrighty, so we'll move on now
Yeah.
to get my other paper back out. Transfer portal. Just kind of chugging along here, Dylan. Like it.
So are we gonna focus on the big story, or are we gonna wait for that?
We'll wait. We'll do that in a second. I know what we're
Hmm.
talking about. Just some quick names, and then we'll get right into that. Some
Yep.
transfer portal news. So Bear Alexander, like we said
Hmm.
last week, entered the portal from Georgia. He committed to USC. USC was talking to him way before he'd even decided to transfer. We know why. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Uh, Everyone has their price. Uh, Xavier Henderson, who we were just talking about last week with Florida as being one of the only few weapons, he's gone.
Yep.
And Vito Tisdale, a solid safety for Kentucky, who was in line to start for them. Has transferred. He's heading to Colorado. So those are really the big name guys for
Hmm.
that are headlining it. There's obviously a bunch more, but for our sake and sanity, we're not going to talk about every single transfer because it's
Right.
constantly. Tyler Buckner, that was a big one that I didn't add. That just happened actually, I think yesterday, the day before. Quarterback from Notre Dame,
Mm.
he's transferring. And he played most of the year last year after what was the guy that went down? I forget. Drew Pine went down.
Yeah.
And so Tyler Buckner stepped in, played most of the year. He's transferring, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes.
Hmm.
I kept thinking for maybe Florida might be interested because Florida's got to get another QB.
Yeah, they do.
Whether or
That's
not anybody wants to go down there is another story, but look for Florida to possibly be in play. Um, some people were saying Bama and Auburn might be in play for Buckner. I wouldn't be shocked if Buckner maybe tries to go down to Tuscaloosa to pair up with Tommy Reese again.
hmm
Just a little nugget right there because Tommy Reese just came from Notre Dame and now Buckner's a free agent. So I think Spencer Sanders. No, never mind. He's at Ole Miss now. I was thinking he was still available. I don't know. Anyway, you ready for the big story though?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this will get us into another transfer portal discussion. Chaos in Boulder, Colorado. Dylan, I'll let you talk about this. But there's, as of right now, I believe it's 20 transfers,
I'm gonna
20
double check your
kids.
numbers because it keeps changing every second. It feels like.
Check that for me. So at least as of right now, I think it's 19 or 20. Post spring game, Colorado, um, have transferred or decommitted from the
Hmm.
team. A just giant number. It's like just a giant like mass exodus of kids that are getting cut or just told or just being willing to walk right now. I think most of them are getting cut, and we see this sometimes after spring games, but not at this level.
Yeah.
Um, and there's been a lot of other stories coming out with like Deion Sanders. There's one kid that they're not allowing him to retrieve his old practice film from high school
Hmm.
because he got cut and he wants to show it off to other teams, but they're not letting him. There's that story. There's one story here I found. Travis Gray, um, when was told this was his quote. He told what Deion Sanders told him when he cut him. He told me, "You're 6'8", 320 pounds. I know in my heart of hearts, a school is going to pick you up in the portal when you enter. Make your weaknesses your strengths and keep progressing. I hope you have a great future. It just won't be here at the University of Colorado." Nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah.
it's just I think the biggest thing is the amount of people that are leaving. Like that's crazy. And
And it's
go
not
ahead.
just kids from last year's roster either.
It's
That's
one
I think
kid
that's
that
a big thing to discuss.
and yeah, one I mean you have one kid that is entering the portal who followed Sanders from JSU
Hmm.
and now he's gone. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if this is just his style of saying like you guys sucked last year, or you guys haven't been relevant. Colorado hasn't been relevant in years.
Yeah.
They were doing it my way or you're going the highway. So a lot of kids are choosing the highway. I don't know. What do you have on this?
So the number looks like we're at 18
I
at the
think it's
moment.
19. I think it's 19. Anyway, I mean, 18 or
Yeah,
19
it
doesn't really
doesn't.
make a difference.
The biggest thing I've noticed though is the fact that it very much seems like Deion Sanders has a very specific way he wants his Colorado roster to look and act and play, right? And there is zero wiggle room on that.
Mm-mm.
If you don't follow exactly how he wants the team to look, you are not a part of this team at all,
Yep.
which is a little bit strong for a first year coach to do. I think you
Yeah.
don't see that very often, but I think it's just crazy to me because there are some real key guys who are transferring who could have been pretty good. I was just looking at a wide receiver who had 146 yards and 2 touchdowns in the spring game decided he's entering the portal.
Yeah.
Like that's not a great thing to hear as a headline, but I guess
There,
without knowing the background information, it's kind of hard to make a real decision on that.
I mean, if this is really his way of like coaching and stuff, I mean, credit
Hmm.
to him
Yeah,
for, not being afraid to really show like he's sticking to a plan. Like,
yeah,
you're not, he just feels you're not good enough to be on the team. He sees you being somewhere else. It is what it is,
because yeah, that's just how it is.
I just this is going to be a big year because now it's really all eyes are really going to be on this team, which I don't see um, making a bowl game anyway.
No,
Man, jeez.
I think they're lucky to get to 6 games and make a bowl game. Like that would be an incredible season.
I mean, I saw them going 5-7 at the best. Their schedule's not
Yeah.
is a little tough this year.
Hmm.
I mean, this is, I mean, at this point, because you're not going to make up 20 guys in the portal. I mean, in
No.
theory. But he said that. Listen, I think he said on social media like he appreciates people standing by him,
Hmm.
and he's keeping receipts for people that are saying something otherwise. So it's going to be interesting because they might fall into a spot like LSU right now. They're not going to have depth pieces now, so they better hope they don't fall into the injury bug because they're not
Yeah.
going to have guys. But they also just could be clearing up spots where like this sets up next year's recruiting portal or next year's
Recruiting class. Yeah.
class and portal where they're going to have spots, and judging on how they do this upcoming year, we'll see. But hey,
Yeah. I guess
go ahead.
it's just a lot. You know what I mean? I just feel
You never seen someone like this.
no.
Mm.
Because like the worst part is, a lot of those kids aren't going to be able to find rosters too. Like it's just so many kids this late.
Yeah, they're gonna get stuck. I mean, plus
Hmm.
you have all the other kids, all the other guys that have already been in the portal still.
And have talked to teams.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing to say about this does not seem like a kids getting poached, which is normally what happens in the portal, right? Like you have a kid who's getting talked to by 3 or 4 programs who may not be a guaranteed starter at a school or doesn't feel like the roster is really built around him, who could get into the portal and he already has suitors lining up, right?
Like Bear Alexander.
Yeah, exactly. Or, Xavier Henderson probably, right? Like I haven't
Makes.
seen all the rules, but I'm guessing he probably already had teams
I
interested in him
think
and he's like, "Man, we're going to suck this year."
I've heard. I know Miami's been a team that was looking at him, and there was another
Mhm.
one, but yeah,
But like a lot of these guys, if they're gonna enter the portal and teams are gonna, like the kid who has no film on him, like what is he gonna do?
I don't, I don't know. He's gonna
You know
have
what I
to
mean?
get it somehow. I mean, that's what I mean. I feel like you should have an extra copy of your film, but that's also like something I feel like the university you should have the right to get it back.
Yeah.
I mean,
What are they
what's
doing
the?
with it?
I know you're not really gonna look at practice film if he transferred somewhere. You're not gonna look at old practice film when he was in high school. You're gonna look more at game film and stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
but we're gonna keep an eye on this. I expect the number to keep going up, but
Yeah, me too.
it'll
It's
be
just
interesting to
crazy.
see. Yeah, it
It's
sure
crazy.
is.
Oh man.
All right, so we got one more college football news story to talk about before we get into our draft special, which is NCAA rule changes that are coming up
Yep.
this year.
Hmm.
Um, the only one I know off the top of my head, and then Dylan will talk about the other ones because he has a site pulled up.
Yep.
Um, the big one, obviously, is more the running clock. So now going forward, everything after every first down now, how it's been is where if you get a first down, clock stops temporarily for the ball to get set, and then it starts back up. Um, but now they're going to be it's just
Hmm.
a first down, clock keeps going. It's going to be like that now, kind of like how the NFL is, where again, first down doesn't matter, gotta clock just keeps running. There's no stoppage. But like Dylan's gonna say, back me up here after the.
Yep.
So it's almost going to be instead of a 2-minute warning, it's just going to revert back to the old rules in a sense where if you get a first down, clock stops temporarily, gets
Exactly.
set. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah. So final 2 minutes of each half
Hmm.
is when the old rules kind of kick back in. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. But Dylan, you want to talk about the rest of the ones?
Yes. 1 second. The website just forced me to sign in.
Hate to see it. Hate to see it.
So okay. So the 3 big rules that you just said. The first one. Oh my gosh, it could be athletic. The first one obviously is the new clock rules. The second one is the banning the use of consecutive timeouts, which I think most of us probably never even noticed. But teams are now going to be forced with they're going to get a penalty, and they'll lose a timeout and a down if you use consecutive timeouts. So like say last 2 minutes of the game, team calls a timeout, things fall apart, they need to call another timeout. You will lose if you have an extra timeout. You will lose that last timeout. You'll lose 10 yards, and it's a loss of down. So they're very severe. Main thing they're trying to get at is they're trying to cut down the amount of plays per game because they don't want so many blowouts, games
Yeah,
to drag on. It's more of a I think it's more for TVs than anything to help with TV contracts
yeah,
because a lot of games last season went over the allotted time slots,
for
specifically with
sure.
ESPN and ABC, and the networks were not happy with that because it meant things needed to get rescheduled with other programs. But the only other big rule being added is the carrying over a foul to the second or fourth quarter rather than playing an untimed down, which again, it's released so that time of games is shortened. That's the biggest thing I think they're wanting.
I don't mind at all. I mean, I think
Nope.
I still like how they don't the penalties are not like how it is in the NFL where like a pass interference is still it's just 15. It's not
Yep.
wherever the penalty happens, so it could be a 40-yard penalty. But
Hmm.
I mean, I don't. The only times I can really see the like the back-to-back timeout thing happening is if like if there's like a crucial like fourth down play or something like that, and they stop, or if they're trying to freeze a kicker.
Hmm.
That's another one I could see. But other than that, I mean, yeah, you don't really see it too often. Um,
Like I said, the
I
only time you really see two timeouts in a row is like that, either a kicking situation or like I was saying, somebody you call a timeout, they go out to run a play and everybody's confused.
yeah, like they're not set or the
Hmm.
clock's running down.
Yeah.
Um, trying to think what else. The running clock one, I just think it'd be better almost in a sense if you're trying to cut back on time is to just use a running clock if there's a giant blowout like in the national title game. Just put
Hmm.
like a running clock going in the second half. There's no
So
there's no point. I mean, if it's a 40-point game, why even bother? You know what I mean?
so I'll tell you right now because there was over 100 rules discussed, right?
Uh-huh.
One of the rules discussed was a always running clock with ball hits the ground running clock.
I don't like that one. Nope.
Yeah, no,
That's dumb.
that was
That's
discussed. There was about a because the thing is the college football game averages around 180 plays per game compared to the NFL's 150. So it adds about 30 minutes to an hour extra.
that's because the competition's better.
Yeah.
Also, you got to also put
Hmm.
that into effect. So, like, you might. I mean, an NFL game, you're gonna have way better competition than what you're gonna see on a Saturday afternoon where Arkansas is taking on Missouri State. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, the biggest reason for these new implementations is we are upcoming on negotiations for TV contracts,
Yeah.
and a lot of these networks were upset about time slots with games.
Well, I mean, Pac-12's gonna be stuck playing on CW soon,
Yep,
and then there was another
it's gonna
rule
be
I saw.
great.
That's so bad. Anyway, no, there was a. I think it was Greg Sankey, someone from the SEC, came out and said, I don't know if you saw this, like they're considering or like threatening to take away SEC teams' home games
Hmm.
as like a penalty or like a instead of like a fine, it'd be like a more of a penalty
Yep.
for rushing on the field,
Hmm.
which I think is dumb. Who
Oh, it's
cares?
awful. It's so
Let them
awful.
rush the field. Who cares?
I
What?
remember seeing there were some other ones like forfeiting games if they rush the
Why?
field.
Who
Like it's
cares?
silly. Like it's just
Just
and it's just the SEC who cares too. Like none of the
just
other conferences are discussing forfeiting games for rushing the field.
let them have their fun. Who cares? That's what college football and sports are all about.
Yeah.
Why don't take the fun out of the game? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I mean, if the Tennessee game, for example, they hadn't beaten Bama in what? God knows how long. I mean, why not? Let that those are
Let
cool
them enjoy
moments.
it.
Exactly. those moments you don't happen all the time.
hmm
Because so
That's
who
what
cares?
makes it special. Like that's what
Exactly.
makes it a unique experience that can only happen in this sport.
Exactly. It doesn't happen in the NFL. You don't see that.
No.
This is what like makes college sports I think better than pro sports in a sense because you
hmm
have stuff like that happen. You
Yeah.
have like in basketball the storm courting. I mean, just leave it alone. Lighten up a little bit. You know what I mean? Greg, come
Yeah.
on.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that was it. So, all right. So we're about to hop in now to our draft special where we're really
hmm
just going to go through. We got a bunch of questions. Um, I'll just ask. I have the questions right here. So, but
Yeah.
we'll each answer them. I got a couple videos for each of our players that we like,
hmm
and yeah, we'll hop right into it. But actually, first, at the 35-minute mark. So if you are looking for anybody, uh, or looking just to skip to the NFL draft part, this is where we're going to be.
hmm
Make sure, again, you're watching the videos, you're liking, subscribing, and you're passing it along to other people that may
Yep.
like watch college sports or just sports in general because we like to expand our horizon here. But yes, so we'll hop right into it now with our first question. Dylan, who goes number one this year in the draft?
Now, I know a lot of the big news publications have been putting out it's not going to happen, but I do believe Bryce Young is the first quarterback and the first pick of the draft. I think Bryce Young gets taken off the board right away, and I don't know. I think even with all these, we've been getting a lot of red flags recently, right?
Yeah.
With the um Anthony Richardson, and as of like 2 days ago, randomly Will Levis jumped to like Vegas's second choice of the like out of nowhere. It was the weirdest thing
There
I've ever
was
seen.
there was a Reddit thing post that said he was going to be the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, and then there was another rumor that he had called like his family members and told them the
Yeah,
Carolina Panthers were selecting him number one overall. And I
because
was
like
like,
his odds went from like
what?
1400 to 400
Yeah, it was
for to
out
be
of
the first
nowhere.
pick.
I still think it ends up being Bryce Young,
Yeah,
but how do you feel?
think the exact same way. 5'10", 204. I mean, just this past year. I mean, we're just seeing some of his clips here. Just
hmm
I mean, he's so calm under pressure. What you're seeing here, if you're watching on YouTube, some of his highlights here against Texas, where he's just able to. This is the big crunch play where he was able to elude a rusher, get outside the pocket, and rush for some yards. Threw for over 3,000 yards, 300 over three for threw for over 3,300 yards this past year, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions,
hmm
and on an Alabama team that really didn't have that many weapons. The offense wasn't that great. I mean, if Bryce Young isn't playing, the Alabama team is probably eight
Pretty
and
bad.
four, an 8-4 team, nine
Yeah,
and
I mean,
three, if that. So
not a special team.
no, but I mean, you're looking right here. This is against Mississippi State. I mean, I mean, he has an absolute cannon of an arm, and he's special for sure.
hmm
I don't really see the size being an issue. I really think we're past that. I think this is an overrated. It's an overrated sort of like trend. It's like the hand size being just dumb.
Well, I do think the only cause for concern would be him seeing over
Yeah,
offensive linemen, but you can adjust to that. You
and
can play out a shotgun. You
yeah,
can,
most of these offenses now are adjusting to how these quarterbacks
mhm,
in college are, and they're playing like Bryce Young's playing with offensive linemen, playing against defensive
yeah,
linemen in the SEC that are 6'5", 6'6". Like
yeah,
if he's doing it in college, what difference is going to be? Where he might have a ball batted down just like every other quarterback in the league. Ben Roethlisberger, who was 6'5", had a crap ton of balls batted down at the line.
hmm
It's not that
The only
rare of a
quarterbacks you
sight.
never see their balls get batted down, obviously, are like the freaks of nature, like your Justin Herbert being like a foot, like 4 inches taller than the average offensive lineman. You know what I mean? You don't see
Josh
those.
Allen still. I mean, you still see. I've seen Josh Allen's balls get batted down. Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes is. It happens to the best of them.
hmm
Joe Burrow. TJ Watt picked Burrow off twice last year by just jumping
Yeah.
up in the air. Like, it happens. Does it happen all the time? No. But it's going to happen. He went 23-4 as a starter. Also went to Heisman Trophy winner and went to a national title game. Lost. But yeah, he's my number one. He's your number one.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Dylan, did you have I was looking at our chat. I know you had two other ones in here. I didn't really write them down yet. Here, we'll just do yours.
Okay.
I have some written down here, but you also brought some up. Okay. All right, Dylan. So, which quarterback do you think is going to be the biggest bust in this draft?
I think it's Will Levis.
You think it's Will Levis?
Only isn't. I don't think he's going to be a horrible player, right?
No.
I just think the amount of hype for him is not going to be equal to the amount of actual production he gives.
Yeah. I mean, the inconsistencies are a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to, so look, I'm gonna show here. So you're gonna see right here. So this is in Florida. If you're watching on YouTube, he's got a clean pocket, or you got a guy coming up here right up the middle. He's about to beat this crappy offensive lineman. You got to see right there on the left side. There's a guy wide open. I mean, just if you watch the throw, he stays in the pocket, takes the hit, but delivers a great ball. This is gonna be later in the game, second quarter. This is clean pocket. I mean, so the big thing is his big strength is the arm. The arm is there. It's there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you see throws like this where this is what's getting him drafted in the top 5. That kind of throw right there. What's cause for concern is what I'm about to show you right here. I got a couple of videos of some really bad interceptions. These are just like what the heck moments right here, and you will agree with this, right? This is the big one.
Yeah, I think I know. I think I know what we're talking about here too.
It's the place, like this is against Georgia this year. They're driving. Kentucky's driving. They're at the ball at the looks like the Georgia 18.
Yeah,
makes a throw. I mean, what is this? Keely Ringo picks him off. I mean, he's not even near the guy.
Guys in double coverage.
Double covered, underthrown ball. The wind was really bad this game because this score. I think the score was like 17-6 or like 9 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just what the heck moments right there. And then we'll show you this one's when they're getting beat down at Kentucky or at Tennessee.
Yep.
Humiliating
game for Kentucky.
Humiliating game. This was a big game for Levis too, because these are games against good teams that scouts are watching too.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do?
This Tennessee roster, which going into this game, everybody said this defense was horrible.
Yes, this is the Tennessee team that defense was historically bad, but their offense was so good that it kind of outweighed it.
Yeah.
Sorry. So here we go. Drops back, looks right or left. Just again, what is that? You can't be forcing that. He forces easy throws into and makes it bad decisions. That's in triple covered. Here comes another one. So he drops back, looks left, going to try to force a throw that's not there. Obviously, you can tell defenders are already in front of him. He has the ball eyed down like a center fielder and just beats him. I mean, here we go. We'll go back over to it.
Yeah.
We're going to show it again. Again, this is on YouTube. So, he's already beat him. I mean, the receiver has no shot to make a play on that. He underthrows it. So, I'd say his biggest weaknesses, inconsistency, underthrown deep balls sometimes, more often than not, and he's not able to make the easy plays when he needs to. The easy throws are what scouts like.
Yeah.
The big throws and the fancy stuff gets the attention, but if you really dig deep as a scout and as a GM and a coach that's looking to possibly draft you, can you make the easy 5-yard out? Can you make the good 15-yard cross in the middle? Are you going to be able to know that, hey, there's a guy that potentially could be open, but if I throw it, it's going to get picked off more often than not. I mean, I have some stats here for you.
Yeah.
So his junior year, which really got him on the scene after he transferred, 24 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 28 over 2,826 yards. And that's what really got him going, you know. Really good, a solid year. I think they won 10 games that year. But senior year, only 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 2,406 yards. Almost 400 yards less, 5 fewer touchdowns, 3 less interceptions, but too many inconsistencies. Not good enough against the good competition. He did have a career record of 17-7, but got beat out at Penn State by Sean Clifford, who's nothing crazy. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to take him, and
Yeah.
that I just don't see it panning out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I don't know.
you never
I
know.
just don't. I think Anthony Richardson, I think is going to have a better career. But again,
I don't
it's
know.
all.
I think that's one of those hard questions to answer, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Levis has a bigger upside than Richardson does, just because I think Richardson's floor could be so low.
I think Richardson is just so raw. It's just so much raw talent. And be honest with you, he didn't start really at all.
No.
He was in and out of starting. He was in and out of playing last year, the 21-22 year, because Emory Jones was there.
Yeah.
And so really this past year was his first sample size of him playing all year. It reminds me of a lot of like Mitchell Trubisky, who only played 13 games. He only started 13 games in North Carolina. So, but the talent, the raw talent was there. So he just jumped up the boards. So, but yeah. Any last word?
No, I think we got everything we want to say about biggest bust.
Perfect. All right, so now we'll move on. So, Dylan, your best offensive player in this upcoming draft?
My best offensive player in this upcoming draft?
Yeah.
I do think it will be Jackson Smith, Ninjigba.
Okay.
Simply because he can be a game-changing wide receiver for a good offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think we're just going to go on the first round, really, right? Like that's our focus here is on the first round.
For the most part, first to like third. But I mean, bigger names, yeah.
I think it's either him or Jordan Addison. I'm really high on Jordan Addison personally.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm not as too high, but go ahead. Yeah, he's still solid.
I'm just really high on Jordan Addison because of his success at Pitt and then moving over to a completely different offense and still picking it up quickly and being successful right away.
Mm-hmm.
Not as successful, mind you, but at the same time, he's just a fantastic option. You know what I mean? Like he's always open. He'll always beat his guy in one-on-one coverage. I think he could be a legitimate number one option right out of the draft.
Who, Addison or Ninjigba?
Addison. I think Ninjigba can be too, but the only thing with Ninjigba is he does suffer from more of an injury risk because he got injured more than once in college. So but and you also got to factor in the fact that he played in an offense that always makes wide receivers look incredible.
I mean, Ohio State receivers have been pretty good going over. I mean, Garrett Wilson just won Rookie of the Year, and he was Ohio State. Chris Olave looked pretty good down in New Orleans. I don't mind it with Smith-Njigba. Same thing with Addison. I would favor more Njigba than I would Addison, only because I think he's a better route runner and a better receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, just if you go back to the Rose Bowl game, because he was unhealthy really all year this year. If you go back to that Rose Bowl game against Utah, I mean, just crazy. The Addison, I don't mind. I think he's still a little undersized. I think he could. I think it might be a little more difficult for him depending on where he goes and depending on where they put him. I think I could see him more being like a slot guy, more of like a deep ball guy. I think the speed in there. I know he'd suffer from some injuries, but yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would rather have Njigba. My guy for offensive player of the draft, I think it's Bijan Robinson.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think Bijan Robinson's the best running back in this class. One of the best players in the draft, just overall. I have some video here of him. I mean, just his ability to his ability to be an every down back. He's a really good pass catcher. We're going to cut that. Really fast. He's able to escape and just be really light on his feet. I mean, just the pull away speed's really there. And then you're going to see here out of the backfield,
Yeah.
just
No.
able to wind and weave right out of the back and just score. That's big now in the NFL. You've got to be able to, be a
Mhm.
multi-versatile back where you're not only running the ball hard for
Mhm.
4, 5, 6, 7 yards a carry. You want to be a good guy out of the backfield that can be relied
Yeah.
on, because that's going to earn you more spots on more downs. So I think he's got that. I think he needs to add on a little bit more size.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean these stats right here. He rushed for over 1,500 yards this past year. 33. He had in his career though. His career numbers: 3,410 rushing yards, 41 total touchdowns, 33 rushing, 8 passing. He averaged 16.5 yards a carry his junior year. That's crazy.
That's good.
That's insane.
That's
Like, that's some pretty big numbers right there.
Mhm.
This past year, he had 20 touchdowns. I mean, 18
Yeah.
rushing, 2 passing. That's crazy.
The
Wow.
only reason I didn't have Bijan Robinson there is because of how running backs are in the NFL these days,
Mhm.
and where NFL teams are moving away from even extending running backs or handing out contracts because they age so quickly. That's the
I
only reason why I didn't
Yeah,
put Robinson.
but I mean, I could see him going somewhere like Philly or
Yeah.
like San Diego or LA. I mean, LA or the or LA. Dang, but I keep saying San Diego. The Chargers or the Eagles, I could see like
Mhm.
the two biggest spots, only because they just gave out a giant contract to Jalen Hurts. I don't know how much longer they're going to have Miles Sanders there.
I don't know
Bring in
either.
Robinson, live on his 5-year rookie deal, or you have the Chargers who Austin Eckler wants out now.
Mhm.
This is probably maybe his final year there. Bring in the replacement, solid guy. I'm telling you, Bijan Robinson could have a really good career.
Yeah.
If
I believe it. I
Yeah,
just with running backs, you know what I mean? It's just they're so volatile.
well, I mean, wide receivers too.
That's true. That's true.
All right, Dylan, best defensive player you in your mind in this draft for you?
So I think it's between two guys. I went with Will Anderson.
Okay.
Um, I think it's between him and Jalen Carter. I
Hmm.
know that right away. Because Will Anderson just has that top speed, and he can break tackle. Like I mean, you're watching this right now. He can just run
It was a
through
penalty and a punt, by the
offensive
way.
linemen like it's nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a game wrecker for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, you're
I
just
yeah.
go ahead.
It is. No, you go. You're good.
I mean, just look at this film right here. I mean, I'm just
Mhm.
able to get around the guy and just completely terrorize an entire line.
Yeah.
He's a game wrecker for sure.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, it was really him and Jalen Carter for the most time, possibly go number one overall. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys are. I will say he does have a tendency sometimes to get beat.
Mhm.
Um, I want to see him be more consistent getting off got tackles and stuff, because sometimes he
Yeah.
does have a tendency to get beat sometimes if you're going up against a really good tackle, like Broderick Jones. That happened at Tennessee. Darnell Wright kind of neutralized him.
Mhm.
It happened more often this year than it did last year when he went just completely bananas and just dominated. This
Yeah.
past year was a lot more inconsistent. There was a little more up and down. Didn't have the godly numbers that he did the year before. Um, was still good defensively, but didn't have that great year.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's a freaking game wrecker. I mean, we can watch. Let me just look at the highlights here. This is against Vanderbilt.
You can watch his highlights all day. I mean, it's
I mean, just
like
see how fast he got off the ball right
yeah.
there. Just completely offense tackle, no shot, and he just easy sack. This is against Auburn, able to just push the guy back,
Mhm.
force Robinson or the guy back, quarterback back inside for an easy sacking again off the ball against Mississippi State. Um, so that's going to lead. That's a great either one.
Yeah.
He's going to be really good for sure. My guy is Jalen Carter. I
Yep.
still think with some of the off the field stuff, the pro day wasn't very good.
Mhm.
He's still, I think, the best overall prospect in this draft. he has potential to be like an Aaron Donald. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not even a. He's
I
6
don't think
foot.
that's a horrible
That's
comparison either.
no. I mean, some of the stats are 6'3", 314 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I think some of his strengths are that he's so fast off the ball. He's fast off the ball, so strong. He's just able to push a lineman out who,
Yeah.
even if he's single team, double team, and he's just able to overwhelm teams, offensive lines. So like, I mean, we're gonna see here. We can watch. I mean, this is against Tennessee. I mean, just push the guy out of the way and just takes out Hooker. Look how fast this ball off the ball. I mean, this is against Mississippi State. I mean, just see how
it's almost like ridiculous how quick he actually is.
it's crazy. I mean, we're gonna see. I'll rewind it here. I just want to see. He's right here in the middle. It's
Mm-hmm.
not circled, but he's 88 right there, and he just pushes a guy out of the way and then makes a tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's elite stuff right there. You don't see that. And then this against LSU, where he's just able to bully his way through. And then this is the cool picks up Jaden Daniels and just holds him in the air. I mean, you're gonna see right here, just a little swim move step, and then he's walking free. I mean, you saw this.
Yeah.
His sophomore and junior year, you saw this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he needs to, if he can stay more consistent each down, he has a tendency to take some plays off. Needs to get, I think, in a little bit better shape than what we saw. But if he is one guy that is able to just take over a game like an Aaron Donald, like a Fletcher Cox, Jeffrey Simmons, like these guys are able to just game wreckers like Will Anderson, where they're able to just dominate and set the tone, where you got to set your scheme up to make sure that you have him taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think it's Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, either one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think those are the guys who you really need to have your eyes focused on right now.
For sure. All right. Next topic here.
Yep.
Is guys we're not talking about that have a chance to really be a star.
Mm-hmm.
You'll start.
Okay. I picked Lucas Van Ness, who actually has been getting a little bit of talking recently. Still not where it should be, because this guy could be a freak of nature. Like, I'll just read you off some of his things. He's 6'5", 270. He's a defensive end. He recorded 6.5 sacks last year with the Iowa Hawkeyes, 36 tackles. 11 of those tackles were for a loss. I mean, he was incredible. Like, he was legitimately incredible as defensive end. And obviously, his biggest knocks are that he played for Iowa. I think that's his biggest knock in total, really.
Sorry.
I think his biggest knock really is that as playing for Iowa, he didn't play against a lot of the best offensive line competition, because a lot of those he didn't, he didn't play SEC guys. He didn't play his own offensive linemen, who, Iowa, they produce always year in, year out, some of the best. But I think as like a raw prospect, I mean, how could you not? You know what I mean? He's just a freak of nature.
Give me 1 second. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick.
Oh no, you're good.
You want to talk about another guy before I'll do mine?
Yeah.
But yeah, Luke Van Ness for sure. I mean, Iowa has some good track record. Really just all like these scrappy guys in the trenches. I think he played more linebacker too. Also, he mixed in at linebacker as well. But yeah, he has a chance. I think he's more of a if he falls to a good spot. Again, if they let him shine and take over, he can have those kind of great games. All right, I'll be right back real quick.
All right. Okay, so there's just a couple other guys who we didn't give full in-depth look at, but we can just name off a couple of them. Devin Witherspoon from Illinois, cornerback. Fantastic cornerback for Illinois last year. I think everybody knows Illinois had an incredible season, so it's hard to not look at any of the guys on their roster and look at them and possibly peg them for future NFL careers. I think you obviously got to take a peek at that. We didn't really talk about CJ Stroud, but obviously he's not exactly a random guy, but he could be a legitimate great NFL quarterback too. Obviously, there's a little bit of concern about where he played, but Yeah, he could be pretty good too.
Who are we talking about?
I just named two guys. Not exactly random guys, but I said Devin Witherspoon from Illinois, cornerback. We didn't really give any
Physical
talking
guy.
about, but yeah, he's a great prospect who.
Big time guy.
Yep, and then I just said C.J. Stroud just because we haven't talked about C.J. Stroud, but obviously he's one of the top quarterbacks,
He
and
just
I don't
can't
think.
pass a test,
Yeah,
He's an
but
idiot, apparently. So, not nice, but always revert back to that with CJ Stroud. Nobody knows. So he failed. He pretty much failed this cognitive test. And this always just reverts back to his Cardale Jones, former Ohio State, tweet where he said, we don't need school. We come here to play football. Why do we need education?
what
Still laughing.
was the exact tweet he said? He said it was like funny too. It's like
It was just along the lines of, man, why do they care so much about like our like grades and stuff? Like we're here to play football, not go to school or something like that.
let me pull it up because it's the funniest tweet.
There's that one, and then the Make-A-Wish one for the hospital one.
Yeah, you destroyed a kid at NCAA football.
It was like false. It was actually up 95 or something like that.
Yeah.
I scored a touchdown 2 minutes left.
He said, why should we have to go to class if we came here to play football? We ain't come here to play school. Classes are pointless.
Maybe CJ Stroud is following those same lines, you know?
Cardale Jones, successful backup career.
Well, we did win a national title. I will say though, CJ Stroud, he's as lethal as anybody if you give him a clean pocket. He doesn't do as well. I think where he needs to use his feet more, needs to be more mobile, and I will say the only thing I don't like is when pockets aren't clean for him. He does struggle a lot.
Yeah.
But if he can improve that, I mean, he's as lethal as anybody. You just watch the Peach Bowl, where he just completely diced up Georgia, for sure. I'm gonna say so. My guys, we're not talking about. I think two receivers. One of them has a shot to be a first rounder. I don't know about the other guy, but we'll start. Quentin Johnston for TCU.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a pretty good one to pick.
We're gonna see here. Super tall, athletic, super just and crazy deep threat guy. We're seeing right here.
The plains of the Midwest. Down the middle.
I completely apologize for that. Anyway, but if you see, he could take a ball and just run with it. And I mean, you're going to see, actually, I got cut off, but like here, little slant. And he's just able to avoid a guy and just the acceleration for a guy being that tall, that big. I mean, that's crazy. That's some gifted stuff right there. He has a chance to really be a really good guy. I think he's almost like a AJ Brown in a sense where he's just able to go up and win those 50-50 balls. DK Metcalf, where he's like I said, just able to go up, make those 50-50 balls look easy. Yeah. So I think he's an instant guy. Like if you draft him, like he's going to be a day one starter for sure. And then the other guy I had was Jalen Hyatt, and Jalen Hyatt I really like. I hope my Steelers possibly take him if they're able to. Jalen Hyatt, folks, just some cool little nuggets here for you. I believe he won the Blitnikoff this year.
Yes, he did.
So he won the Blitnikoff,
yes, he did.
Best receiver in college football. We're going to take down this one. I do have some cool little nuggets for you. Jalen Hyatt, just a casual 1,267 yards receiving this year. He had 15 touchdowns. Super great, really good speed, lengthy, and a elite downfield threat. I mean, this guy is insane. I'm going to show you a clip here again on YouTube. This is his speed right here. Just took one and just instantly, like, he's gone. I mean, there's no catching him. This is against Bama. And for those of you who didn't watch this classic of a game, 6 receptions. He only had 6 catches for 207 yards and 5 touchdowns. This is his one catch. Great throw by Hendon Hooker, by the way. But I mean, just able to beat 2 guys in the secondary and just take it to the house. And here's another one. Again, beats 2 guys off the ball and scores. And then this one's against LSU. Just look how fast he is. I mean, that's really good.
He's just a
So,
special player, man.
for sure. And then that was also with Cedric Tillman also being there. But I mean, Jalen Hyatt is really good.
Mhm.
And as long as he stays healthy, I mean, I think he's going to be a really good player in this league.
Yeah,
For sure.
I agree with you.
Okay. We'll move on here to overall. Dylan, who do you think your biggest bust is?
I said Will Levis.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't need to go into too many details with him because I think we already gave him a lot on our which QB is the biggest bust.
Yeah.
But normally, quarterback will always be the biggest name. And I don't think Will Levis is going to be like Zach Wilson bad, right?
No.
But I think with the amount of hype all of a sudden he's getting, he's not going to perform anywhere near that, and he's going to get a lot of people disappointed.
Yeah.
To the point where they're going to feel like he is that bad.
Yeah.
So I went Will Levis. What do you think?
I think, yeah, I agree with that. A lot of people think he's going to be like a Justin Herbert comparison. I see more Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
With him. Personally, I think it's Deontay Banks from Maryland.
Oh, that's a good pick.
He's all of a sudden like he's a first rounder apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen too many Maryland guys that have panned out really well. I'm hoping the Steelers don't screw up and take him because Tomlin loves the Steelers or some Maryland boys. Don't like it. He gets handsy. He gets really handsy and penalized when he gets beat.
Mm-hmm.
Gets beat off the ball too much, and he's injury prone. He only played in 2 games last year. Don't like it. I think there's too much downside to it. Also Jahmyr Gibbs. It could get backfired on this one. Running back from Alabama, transferred from Georgia Tech. He's projected to be. A lot of people think he's going to be the first running back off the board ahead of Bijan Robinson. I don't see the hype. I didn't see it at just Georgia Tech. I didn't really see it at Bama. He's a little undersized. I think he has to get drafted to a team that fits him schematically, or he just could be a special teams threat. But like I just don't see a hype. He's he's undersized, like I said, and he needs to put weight on, I think. I mean, I'm just worried. Sure, he's shifty and out in space. He's gonna be more, I think, of a passing down back anyway.
Yeah.
But like he's not going to be a guy I don't think you're going to be able to rely on to get like those tough yards. You know what I mean? And it's different in the NFL. Can you get me those tough 5-6 yards? I don't think he can. So that's just mine. But could come back to haunt me. I don't really care. Okay. All right, Dylan. This is a little fun time for you.
Yeah.
Who do you think? So you're a Bucks fan, obviously. I'm a Steelers fan. Dylan, who do you think, or who do you want the Bucks to take?
I want the Bucks to take Broderick Jones from Georgia.
What pick is that?
I believe we have pick number 18. Let me double check that real quick.
I think it's 19. Because I know the Steelers are at 17.
Our first round pick is 19.
It is 19. Okay. What is
Mm-hmm.
this? Oh, that's Will Anderson. Why do you want Broderick Jones?
Well, after we lost Jackson, the team is entering a rebuild. It's just the truth of the matter. The biggest thing the team needs to look forward for is offensive line. I think that's where we need to build around. We already have, we have pieces, right?
Yeah.
There's pieces to build around, and with guys leaving, and obviously there's problems in the secondary, right? But
yeah,
I think you can address those concerns in later rounds and get production. Just a lot of the guys on our Super Bowl team, at least in the secondary, were second, third, and fourth round guys. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing is that I think Broderick Jones will give consistency to the next 6-7 years on that offensive line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he'd just be a fantastic guy to have up front to, with Baker Mayfield being our quarterback,
Gotta feel great about that, don't you?
oh yeah.
So I like
I
Broderick.
want to keep him protected.
Yeah,
I think
for
that's the
sure.
biggest thing.
I love Broderick Jones. I hope the Steelers take him. 6'5", 311 pounds. Did not
Mhm.
allow a sack this year, and
Yeah.
over 449 pass block snaps. You're gonna see some tape here. So there's him highlighted. If you're watching on YouTube, he's an offensive tackle. I mean, just able to just give Bennett this really clean pocket and then a dirty hit right there. You're gonna see this is last year against Tennessee. He circled on the offensive line. He said the left.
Hmm.
Look at he's able to take down two guys, push them inside, allow Bennett to scramble, and then pick up a giant gain right there. That was a big third down.
Yeah.
Then there was another play, but he's super great. He has really good natural strength, moves really well, as you saw. We can just play it again. I mean, while I'm talking, see how fast he can get out of his stance.
Hmm.
He needs to be, I think he needs to continue to just grow more on the run blocking. Pass blocking, he's really
Yeah.
good. Run blocking, it can be a little bit sometimes of a downside. But yeah, I love Broderick Jones. I really hope the Steelers take him because we really need an offensive tackle. I hope that's who we take, or we take this guy named Paris Johnson Jr. or Darnell Wright from Tennessee, but Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State, 6'6", 313 pounds. Really good in pass pro. Run blocking as well, really good on his feet. But he's still really raw as far as linemen
Yeah.
are. It's just with
Hmm.
anybody. I mean, just needs to a little bit more, needs to be more consistent, needs to get that raw power and just
Yeah.
show it more consistently. But yeah, both guys are really good options, I think, for my Steelers at 17. I mean, we're gonna win the Super Bowl this year, so this is going to be that final really piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, listen, just saying. All right, Dylan. So who are three guys you think from this draft class that could be um, Hall of Famers one day? Who have a chance?
So I named 3 guys. I don't think I need to go into detail on the 3 guys I picked because we already went into pretty good detail on all 3. But
Mm-hmm.
I said Jalen Carter, Jordan Addison, and Lucas Van Ness. Just
Okay.
because there's 3 guys I do confidently believe in.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind that at all. I
Hmm.
actually mind her. It's kind of same thing. Like we kind of already talked about him, but Jalen Carter, I think, has the best shot. Broderick Jones is another one I like.
Yeah.
And then Bijan Robinson could have a really, really. I'm really high on Bijan Robinson. Um, just he can. I think he's built the best in this class, like an NFL back, and I think he could have a really good career as long as he stays healthy. That's the big thing with the
Yeah.
running backs. Got to stay healthy. Alrighty, I think we got through all the questions for NFL draft
Yeah. I think we're only down to one last thing.
for sure. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a pretty good show.
All right, so as we enter into the final stages here of this
Hmm.
time. Again, we'll say hit that subscribe button, watch us on YouTube, tell your friends, tell your family that hey, we're here. We're
Hmm.
coming. Keep in your seats. Anyway, all right, so we'll head into 3 questions now, as we always do to end the show. As I spelled it wrong. Nice. Anyway, here, 1 second. We're gonna have to edit this. That's gonna drive me crazy. There we go. Questions. All right, now we'll show it. Okay, 3 questions now. So again, as we always do it, 3 questions is just a thing that we do at the end of
Hmm.
our show where we will write 3 questions for our other so I'll write 3 questions for Dylan to answer. I
Yep.
might chime in. He might chime in on his questions. We do not know the other person what they're writing, so
Exactly.
makes it more fun. All right, so I started last week, so Dylan, you can start this week.
Okay. I said my first question for you is has to do with some recent news. My question is, will the Oakland Athletics be successful in Las Vegas?
No, because they still stink, and they're going to be still under the same management. They're still going to stink. They're not
But
going to
will
be
they
good.
draw crowds? Will they draw crowds? Will people show up
Maybe
to
at the
watch
start because it's
Vegas?
going to be a new stadium. That's still not going to be around for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe once they get the stadium, they maybe they want it to suck so bad that they just wanted to move stadiums so that they
I think
could.
you actually may have hit on the head exactly what happened.
They wanted to suck so bad that they could move on, kind of like Major League, the movie.
Hmm.
But maybe now once they move, they'll start really investing in the team. But that's I don't think. I don't think
I've actually
anything's
been
gonna
reading though
change.
they might leave earlier than that because
There's
their lease in Oakland ends next year.
Have they started construction yet?
No,
Nice,
they
nice.
just bought the land,
Oh, perfect,
but
perfect.
there's a minor league stadium they own in Vegas
Nice.
that can
There's
be expanded from 10,000 seats to 23,000 seats.
Well, they only need 5, so
They could
know
be possible. They could be popular in Vegas. You never know.
they're not. But I mean, it's almost like the remember was it like the COVID year or whatever in MLB? They had the Blue Jays had to play at like their their
Yep.
spring training field all
Hmm.
season long.
Yep.
So
It's actually
yeah,
funny because the year after COVID, they still had to play there because Canada had such strict laws
gotta
on
love
people
Canada.
coming in and out of the country.
All right, Dylan.
Hmm.
Most memorable sporting event you've ever been to?
Most memorable sporting event I have ever been to. So I would say there's a couple that would be in there. I would say I went in 2018 or so. I can't remember exactly which year it was. Baker Mayfield's rookie year, the Buccaneers played the Browns, and our kicker missed 3 kicks in a row and then won. We won the game when he kicked a 62-yard field goal in overtime.
Nice,
And
nice.
it's the only reason that game is memorable though is because Baker Mayfield was on camera looking like this watching it.
That's
But
funny.
other than that, I would probably say when Drew Rasmussen took a perfect game into the 9th inning
Race
last
game.
year. Hmm.
All right, all right. Um, I mean, I'd probably think um the uh the Georgia Clemson game always comes to mind for me. That
Hmm.
was a neutral site game in Charlotte. Just it was electric, and it was a close game all game long. So that was that 10-3 game. Really stole the show on Saturday night. But that game or uh trying to think. I was younger, but I mean I went to game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals
That's pretty cool.
in Chicago when they played the Blackhawks and the Bruins, and went
Oh
to like
yeah,
triple overtime. That was wild. The
that was
Madhouse
real.
on It's called the Madhouse on Madison for a reason. So yeah, that'd be mine. All right, what's your second question?
All right, my second question for you was, what does the NBA have to do to be interesting?
Play defense. I don't watch the NBA at all, really. Play defense. It's like street ball now, and just shoot
Yeah.
threes and do whatever. Um, if I wanted to do that, I could just go to my university wellness center to go watch a bunch of science and business majors do it on the basketball court. Like too many. It's just there's no defense. I
Yeah.
mean, it just looks like an all-star game out there. That's why the NBA All-Star game was nobody watched it. It was one of the lowest
Mhm.
rating all-star games of any sport ever because there's no defense. It's just that. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
street ball now. It's just a bunch of street ball.
I still think the only good All-Star game was Major League Baseball's, but
Yeah.
just because it's the only sport where they could try without really feeling possibly like they could get injured.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to try. I mean, the pitchers are still throwing.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to think. What else? The NHL All-Star game's not bad. I don't really watch All-Star games really that much.
No.
Just kind of they're boring. I mean, they're a little boring just because they don't really mean anything. I watch more like the like the events that happen before the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So, like if it's MLB, I like watching the home run derby. The celebrity
Oh, home
softball
run
game's
derby is
always
awesome.
electric.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. My second question is, if you were stuck eating one fast food place for the rest of your life, what is it?
That's a great question. I'm probably gonna say hot take Culver's.
I love Culver's, so
Oh,
excellent
it's
choice.
so good.
Excellent choice. That's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
choice. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I would pick Culver's specifically because like their food's great.
Oh, it is. For sure.
Their food's great.
Can't complain about that.
I mean, it's like yeah. If
Uh,
I'm eating food for the rest of my life, I'd rather have good food.
for sure, for sure. I mean, maybe Chipotle.
That's not bad.
Chipotle,
I
not bad.
think the only thing with Chipotle is it really fast food.
Yeah, I think so.
I would think so too, but sometimes people you're like, oh, I got like Chipotle or like Five Guys. They say, oh, it's not really fast food.
Chipotle is way more fast food than Five Guys.
I don't know. They take about the same time.
Well, Five Guys charges you as if they're a 5-star diner. So
They
you know,
do charge you like that. But you know who else does that? That what's it called? Shake Shack does that too.
Shake Shack's crazy, but it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't mind Shake Shack. All right,
Shake Shack's pretty good.
all right, Dylan. What's your final question?
All right, my final question for you is how long till Hunter gets MLB The Show 23?
It's gonna be summer for sure. I'm not gonna be
Yeah,
probably
you
getting
gotta
it anytime soon.
you gotta
I
join
can't.
all this
I
planning.
know.
It's
Yeah. I just I don't I haven't had the time really to,
Mhm.
or I just haven't been on my PlayStation that much. But
Yeah.
probably it's gonna be a little into summer for sure.
It's actually funny because I definitely I upgraded PlayStation specifically because I was like, well, I gotta have the PS5 before 23 comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right. Final question here before we get out of here for you.
Yep. Okay.
What would Dylan do? Or what's the furthest you will go if it meant FSU won the Natty? How
Like
far? Like what kind of acts would Dylan do if it meant? What's the farthest, like craziest thing you will do if it meant Florida State was going to win a Natty?
now, what do we mean? Like how far I would go, or like what's just the craziest thing I
Yeah,
would do?
like craziest thing, like run in your underwear just down this road, just screaming and hollering, like I don't know,
I
something like that.
drop below underwear. Let's go. I streak for the Seminoles. Let's start it.
Streak for the
New,
Seminoles.
new trend. Streak for the Seminoles. Let's go. Let's
Streak for
go.
the Seminoles, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, listen, that's a wrap right there, folks. Streak
Yeah.
for the Seminoles. That's how we're gonna end this one.
This is probably one of the longest episodes. I'm looking at it right now. We're almost
But
an
honestly, we didn't
hour
do
and a
too bad.
half.
I mean,
No.
honestly, though, we didn't do too bad for how much stuff we had. I mean, I think we can have a. I think next week we'll do a just kind of like a just like a recap of some of the maybe some bigger names that or bigger things that happened in the draft, and then
Yeah.
whatever college news is out there. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be continue
See,
watch
I got.
baseball.
Yeah, there's a ton of baseball to watch. I gotta get a new passport.
Oh, we going somewhere?
No, but not yet. Only because it takes so long to get a passport that I can't even go anywhere over the summer. Because
Nice. Where are you trying to go?
my grandfather moved down to Ecuador,
Oh,
so we
random
want to go
country,
visit him,
but
right? Well, he moved down there because he didn't need like a visa or anything to move down there,
okay.
and they use American dollars.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like my mom was like, "We're gonna get our passports exchanged," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to. This is my passport. Look at this."
Look at that right there, folks.
Yeah, it expired in 2012.
Nice, nice.
So I was looking at getting a new one, right? And you know what the problem is? They're like, "Oh, it's so old, you have to buy a new one." and it's like $160
Makes sense.
because they're like, this doesn't even count for anything anymore. It's
That's
literally
awesome.
just a piece of paper at this point.
Well, it's because you were like 3 years old in that right there. So,
2007, 4 years old.
Oh. Sorry.
I got you, man. I'm telling you.
All right. Alrighty. So I think we're gonna get out of here. Make sure you guys again watch the video. It should be. I'm gonna try to get it up here as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
Watch it listen to us on Spotify, on YouTube.
Mhm.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Tell your
Please subscribe.
friends. Comment anything you want,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna get it out on social. Tell your friends. Pass it along.
Yeah.
And have a great day, guys. Enjoy the draft. I will be. And
I think I will be too.
and let's see if Dylan's Lightning have any fight left in them. Down 3-1. So that's my final take. Leafs and my
Alright.
Knights will win. So, all right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Have a good one. Catch you on the flip side.
See you guys.